Hi, welcome to Books and Bottles. I'm your host, Benita Johnson. It has been a long time, but we're back. We're back on NDTV. I want to shout out also Culture Mix Radio. It's been since April 2024 since I've been with you, but I am excited to be back here in Richmond at Oyster's Pearl. So today I am with family. So y'all know when I do these, I drink wine, whether my guests do or not. So the wine I'm drinking today is a Rioja. So Rioja is a Spanish wine, and y'all may not know. If y'all follow me on Facebook, you know that I'm taking Spanish. But this one is called Gran Familia. Gran Familia means big family, and so we have an audience today, and most of them are my family. Also, the author, I am so excited to be able to interview this person who is my cousin. So my cousin wrote a book. So if you know anything about writing a book, it's not anything that you just wake up and say, I'm gonna do, and you get it done. It's a labor of love. So my author today is Mr. Kevin Anderson, and his book is called The Spot. Welcome, Kevin. Now, we're in Kevin's space, but we're welcoming Kevin in his own space.
Thank you.
So thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
So I got questions.
I got one.
So The Spot is about a landmark restaurant in Richmond, and you are a huge part of that, co-founder of it. But you're reading the book, you didn't go to college to be a restaurateur.
No. Originally, when I went to school, I was going to be a lawyer. After attending 2 years, got tired of school and realized that maybe that wasn't what I really wanted to do. So on a break when I came home, riding down Main Street in Shopper Bottom at the time, I saw a spot that was actually available for rent. And it was at that moment that the lights turned on, and I'm like, I know what I want to do. That prompted me to go into the restaurant business. But that particular venture was a high spring sub shop by the name of La Cream, Healthy Delights. So
Okay, so what intrigued you to want to go in the restaurant business? I mean, now, years later, so what was the excitement at that point?
When you know.
Okay.
When we feel it, I mean, it was just, that was it. It wasn't a second thought. I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I pursued it. 35 years later, here we are.
Here we are, still in the game. That's a big deal. Most people don't last this long. So you had your dreams of restaurant, your aspirations. Then you decided to go into business with a person of a member of a family that was pretty legendary. Their name was well known in the Richmond community where we are. How was that? Was that at all intimidating that you're gonna, already the lights are on you?
Oh, no. Actually, I mean, in some respects, it was an honor. My partner's mother was my favorite teacher in high school. And she was she was the reason that we actually met. And when we finally did meet, actually, my then partner, he came to the ice cream party to introduce himself along the way for me.
Like what?
At the same time, simultaneously, there was abuse across the street from the ice cream party.
Okay. So you were involved in the shop? I mean, was your salon?
Yeah, it was my salon.
Okay.
And some years later, some of you may be familiar with the Professional's Hair Salon. The owner had asked me to come and help her in her expansion. So we ended up developing a cafe with the hair expansion. And, that worked out for a little while. And then from there, never did an idea began to get closer. At one point, we had started working on an ice cream parlor on 2nd Street. Just want to give the name of Second Scoop. Fortunately for me, I ended up having a real bad car accident. And I had to walk in third-degree burns, stitches, and so forth. So it kind of derailed with the plan for it. So some years later, after coming out of corporate America, cruising down Lee Street, I saw the building where a Croaker spot would be. I saw it, boarded up, and I think obviously I knew that my partner Neverett owned the space. And I asked him, I said, now what's your plan for the location? I got the building again, I'm ready to do something. And he basically said that he really had no real plans for it, but if I was thinking about doing something that it took some money, and sweat equity wasn't going to do it, wasn't the exact word. Sweat equity ended up being a major part of it, as well as, $120,000 later, and 6 years of day in and day out laboring, to put it together.
I remember just, for Richmond, it takes a minute.
But to your question, we met by him coming to Britain, and it just went from there.
Okay. So y'all formed this friendship.
Pretty much.
Business partnership.
And the thing about it is, for me in a relationship, he was never about 6 or 7 years older than I am. So he was sort of like a big brother to me. Mm-hmm. And so I admired his grind and his hustle and being in the business. I could appreciate that. And I think he could appreciate, having a younger brother that took interest in being in the restaurant business. So bond came there because rarely do you find somebody that's on that same wavelength and that same type of commitment. So.
Okay, we're going to put a pin on that commitment because that comes back. So, corporate America. So, did you quit corporate America before the restaurant was open?
Yeah, before the restaurant opened, I think I was there maybe about 4 or 5 years. It accumulated some 401k money.
Okay. So, how's your family feel about you quitting your good job, your good day job, and now you're going to do this restaurant thing?
Well, I could tell you to ask her for yourself. She's standing over there. But she's supportive. Nobody, she's supportive of Patricia, she's supportive. Always have been. So really wasn't no resistance. We had just had a newborn somewhere in between that. So, I think she did, want you to be sure that, that was...
It seems like it's not, right? Okay, so what's the name of the restaurant that you opened? What's the origin of that name?
A mutual friend of my partner and I, a gentleman by the name of Kevin Hobbs, he was also going to I take that back, I digress. He was one of the people that was offering the land.
Okay.
There was another mutual friend of ours, Sister Ife.
That's my best friend, by the way, Ife.
She actually ended up giving us the name.
Okay.
It was a toss-up between with both of them. We got to turn the name, and we ended up going with
Perfect spot. Oh man, she's gonna love it. I'm sure she knows it. She's gonna love it. Okay, so I've had a restaurant. I've had wine shop, 2 wine shops. And so I know about the excitement. So tell me about that first day, grand opening.
Well, ironically, I wasn't even there.
Where were you?
I was actually attending a boxing class.
Okay.
Why? I don't know, because I don't boxing. I don't like boxing. Never learned the trade like I should have. But I was going to boxing class, just trying to be well-rounded in the business. So, on the fullness of software.
So you didn't think people were going to be there? What were you thinking?
No, well, I was committed to the class, and it was one of those things, I don't know. And then maybe I didn't think that it was going to be what it turned out to be, because it was quote-unquote open.
Right.
But, come to find out,
it was a lot of anticipation. So
they were there for what I was told. So, if I have any regret, that would be that.
Okay. So you showed up after your bartending class.
Everything was done and when I got back. They told me about it.
Okay. So Croaker did pretty well in that area. And then you went on and you opened a second business together. And that was the club, Mr. Bojangles.
Right.
Okay, how was that transition? How was that different? How should I?
Nightlife.
Okay.
But it came about at the time the city was developing, and the space was sitting there. And the gentleman that we were working with at the time, he was rather experienced as far as putting together business plans, attaching and things of that nature.
So was it someone that you both knew?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And at this point, I mean, real quick part had already begun to kind of bubble. So part of it was about growth. Part of it was, you know, ego. You know, because we both kind of, at some point, we both kind of felt that, you know, that we both couldn't get rid out of the restaurant, you know, and we still didn't get the anyway, but.
They tired of playing.
Yeah, but you know, it was about growth, and it was an opportunity. More important, it was an opportunity, and you know, the name was hot. So pretty much anything that we were trying to do or wanted to do, I guess you had a fair shot.
Yeah, I've never been a real club person, but Bojangles was back. I've been a couple of times.
It served as the second restaurant location for a short period, but it became the hot spot, you know, in the jail for the most part.
So did you find that having to, you're owning and still working in and managing the restaurant, and now you have this other very busy entity, how was that pulling at you and pulling, 'cause of course you can't be in two places, so you can't be home.
It was like
working all the time.
It was a team. We had built a team.
Okay.
You know, a team of managers, some of our friends, some of whom are here today. You know, Black He was one of the managers there. So we had assembled it, and you know, more so, that was quote unquote, you know, never oversaw that operation. Let me say, I kept,
club.
yeah,
Okay.
but I kept, you know, I kept my eye on the listener, you know, in terms of where our responsibility day to day. So, I mean, but that's how we managed it.
Okay. So I read the book. So I'm not going to tell y'all all about the book. Y'all need to read the book, okay? So we're going to skip over some things, but the club no longer exists. So that means something, a choice or something happened. So how long was the club open when you knew that this needs to end? The club had to shut down.
We don't need to. It probably was open for about 3.5, maybe 4 years.
Okay.
Certain things was happening that you begin to see the decline.
So you saw it coming.
Something far, yeah.
Okay.
And for where I was in my journey, you know, I was going somewhere else. You know, I had already left the building.
Okay.
In spirit, if you will.
Okay.
You know,
But in reading the book, I'll tell y'all a little bit. You were the owner, basically. I mean, your name was all over everything. So you had to have either a great level of trust to kind of just kind of step back when you knew other things were going on over there, or did you feel like you was hemorrhaging and was nothing but you?
Well, let's give the trustee.
Okay.
It was a blind trust. But when you have friends and you have people that you consider home, shit of that nature, I mean, for me, I could get a friend to people. So I never second guessed, you know, anything else. And so that's still not to say, you know, anything derogatory, but you would begin to see the writing on the wall. Just certain things wasn't being detected, you know, as if it were you.
Yeah.
You know. So that's as much as I.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, no, I trust it. It worked out.
Okay. So I understand that, you know, you sacrificed a lot to be here. You know, we put our families through a lot to be here. So how was that? Tell us a little bit about the pressure. You know, you have this fledgling business and you have a young family at home.
It was tough. The simultaneously between developing the restaurant itself, when we started, at the same time we had just purchased our first home in Church Hill, which had to be fully renovated.
Yeah.
So in the book, the chapter is called Two Major Project. And simultaneously, we were working on both of those. And the same for my partner. I mean, he's sort of doing the same thing. Him and his family just starting out, they bought a home, they kind of made. So I think that was a tense moment. I mean, you're working off, daily cash.
Yeah.
If I paid myself $65 a day, 35 of them went to the project. The other 30 went home, literally, every day, for 2,190 days.
Wow, that's a long time. So I heard you say in the beginning, $120,000, I think you started. And so was that loans or personal? Any regrets on that? Folks say use somebody else's money, keep your own cash.
Well, at that time, we couldn't have done any with that.
Okay.
We didn't have
The assets to get the loans.
we couldn't go to the banks.
Okay.
Again, back to the 401k.
Yeah. That was your money.
That was that. My wife and mother-in-law at the time, and my daughter, they were in car accident. We used that sold that money. Of course, when I was helping my partner, Ellis,
Yes.
which was right across the street. So whatever cash I got from that went towards that. He did the same. As we got further down the road, my partner's mother, she basically gave us her credit card.
Okay. So family was.
That took us further down the road.
Okay.
Then from there, it was just, art and friend, doing whatever you had to do. And then the contractors, they were pivotal big project though, because without them, we weren't paying market costs to get some of the work done.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you, once, things were revealed, and once you read the book, you'll see, kind of what was revealed and what was going on. How did you feel? Betrayed or, just how did you feel about it?
Without giving too much of it away, it was some things that was happening in the business as related to debts, things of that nature that no one had answered.
Okay.
And I'll just touch on it briefly like this. We had an incident whereas on a given day, we had the sheriff's department come to the restaurant unannounced, and they had indicated that there was an $11,000 lien,
On the business.
and it was from food supplies that the restaurant was operating. We didn't use them.
Okay.
Now, clerk side, this particular supply did, but no one knew. When we told them, actually, what's going on with this? But anyway, it was $1 million on the bank account. So the sheriff department basically said, go to the register, open the drawer, whatever, get it together.
Well, you got.
Restaurant full of
Like you got
customers
stuck
now.
up.
Restaurant full of customers. So you can imagine, like, how a person can feel. So, gave me money, did it up. So, the beautiful thing is, the credit card business was so strong at the restaurant that,
Gonna get some more cash.
within probably maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, knocked that $11,000 off. Okay, so we never heard.
Okay.
Not even 2 weeks later, another $1 million was on the bank account. Nobody knew where it came from.
You just keep showing up.
So this was like about 9,000. So at this point, now I pretty much have lost interest, and I lost interest in everything. 'Cause at this point,
The restaurant and the food.
I'm like, all right, you know what, I'm good. And I already made my mind up what my exit strategy was.
So, in going into other businesses, how did this experience impact your ability to trust another business partner?
And move on. You know, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
That's nice.
And I mean, talk about survival. So this is how I feed my family. So, you know, I mean, we just deal with face value.
Okay.
Because we don't answer.
So you left Virginia and went to Charlotte. Why Charlotte?
Well, my wife's brother, they lived in Charlotte. So we just decided that we were going to take a break and go and visit. And when we left Virginia, it was almost like when we crossed the state line in North Carolina, it was like, it was heaven. And, you know, it was just like, I'm free, I'm gone, you know. And when we came to visit, we liked the city of Charlotte. It was clean. And it was just like, okay, this is where we, you know, we had already made the decision, this is where we're going. When we came back to Virginia from Charlotte,
How long were you in Charlotte?
maybe a week.
Oh, okay.
We
So this was really a visit.
It was a visit
Okay.
at the time, the first visit, but it was a visit that was with the decision maker. And ironically, when we came back from Charlotte and crossed the state line back into Virginia, it was like this dark cloud. It came right back over. And so, I mean, that's how we ended up in Charlotte. We looked around and we made the decision that's where we wanted to go.
So you went back, and when you went to Charlotte, what did you do?
Ultimately, I had just bought a food truck before I left Richmond. So I had a food truck towed there. So we started off by making plans to start off in a food truck. We had to put some money into the food truck. In the process of that, we ended up finding a location. The first location we found in Charlotte, they'll take out. It didn't actually work out, but eventually we found a second location in Charlotte to open up a takeout, and we did. But long and short, the brand got recognized in Charlotte because they did it open. The guy said, "Look, the food truck is ready to come pick it up."
Perfect time, and that was God right there.
We pulled up, and Richmond showed up.
Yeah.
There was about it.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, let's take out
Okay. And how long were you there?
5 years.
Okay, so you kind of went down to Charlotte for a quick vacation. You was like, okay, we calculated this plan in your head, and you're gonna be there. You left Charlotte, and you went to Atlanta. Okay, so what was your plan when you went to Atlanta?
Atlanta came about because my cousin that was already living in Atlanta, he came up to stay with us for a while in Charlotte, needed a break. And but he kept telling me, he said, "Cuz, I got this spot just like the spot on 2nd Street, man. Just like, gotta see it. Come check it out." I did, and it was just what he said. The location inside on the corner in the intersection of Edgewood and Boulevard in Atlanta, which is a major intersection. It sits the next street over from where the King family home was and where Ebenezer Church was. So you could walk out the front door, walk over to the next block, there you were. Maybe 6 to 8 blocks off of Peachtree. So the location was what he said it was. And at the time, I couldn't do anything, so looked at it, but it stayed on my mind, it stayed in my spirit. So ultimately, when we decided to relocate in Atlanta, I contacted the realtor again, and he said, "Yes, still available. Let's talk." So that's how we got there. We probably got $20,000 in, ran out of money. And by that time, me and my partner had kind of started reconnecting.
Okay, your partner back in Richmond.
Right. And we started reconnecting. And then my wife got pregnant with our 3rd child. We didn't have the family there, you know, for the support. So we just decided to just fall back home. Shop it in her.
Okay, started. But you did it.
Yeah.
Both no folks found all
And the word we go. Here we go.
So we're gonna pivot a little bit because I know you stopped being a restaurant owner traditionally and went more into consulting. So what advice would you aspiring restaurant owners?
good. Start off with a business plan. Make sure you have a business plan. And have the resources in order, those are, two important ones.
Okay.
Business plan and how to use this and start. Yeah.
So I do have to talk a little bit about cornbread. So, because everybody who knows Croaker Spot knows Croaker Spot cornbread. And so at some point, y'all were packaging the cornbread, right? Kind of like the Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuit. So what happened with that? Because that would be like...
Well, when I was in Atlanta, and I was going back and forth to Bristol a lot. By the time the whole street location was open in Richie. But I reached out to one of the reps from House of Auction and had expressed to him, the volume of cornbread that restaurants going to use, and that we had an interest in making our own. Testing the water, if you don't know, let's try it, so they actually said, look, we're going to come up to visit. They came up to the restaurant, which is on Hall Street, the second location. And by this time, I came back and I was managing, if you will. But they came up and talked, and I told them what we were spending on the current product we was using, how much we was going through. And then they began to explain, hey, look, well, we can make it, so give us what you're using. We'll take it to the lab, break it down, see what the ingredients are, so forth and so forth. And once we determined that, they indicated, well, this is what it would cost per case, which was a difference of about maybe $30 a case.
A difference in what you are.
Already spent 60 to 30.
Okay.
So when you do the math, that's $40,000 a year. No brainer. I think everyone that was in on the conversation had to at least.
Yeah.
And when they came back with the MIPS that worked, they were like, all right, well, give us this amount of time to get your order together. You have to get a pallet, come down and pick it up. That's the short version.
Okay. All right. Y'all got to hear about the rest of the story in the book. He ain't going to answer no more on that question. So one thing that you seem to have done really well is the pivot, which is key to any business because we have ebbs and flows and you got to be flexible and pivot. So today, as a restaurant consultant, what would you identify as the biggest challenge in the industry today?
It's competitive. Costs all over the board. For restaurants that are depending on like the food delivery systems, they take too much money out of the delivery fee.
Okay.
And then they hold your money too long. That's my opinion.
You mean like some of the popular?
Yes,
like,
like if Uber Eats, Uber Eats happen to be one of the third ones that they pay me like next year.
Okay.
But the rest of them, if you order for the whole, they order food all week, Monday through Friday, Sunday through Friday, whatever, you don't get your money from them until the following Friday.
What?
And they take it 30%.
And they get our money before they bring out food, so I don't understand it.
It was a COVID thing. So COVID invented, really how to do food. So at the time, it seemed like a good idea.
Yeah.
But, for a regular operation, it just cuts too far into your money. And there's two ways to look at it. Because they do advertise for it. But
30% is a big chunk.
It's just a chunk.
Food costs are already high.
So, and you can't keep on adjusting your cost to the consumer. To be able to, some of them just have to eat. So, those would be some of the top two things that I think are, that you make. This is a different day. A lot of competition out here.
Yeah. A lot of things are going on. I live in D.C., and so they passed a law a couple years ago to add these fees to the restaurant to be able to pay the servers, because they weren't. They say don't make a living wage, and especially in DC, it's expensive. And so, but then the people rebelled, and okay, we're gonna pay this fee, we gonna tip on it, so they still weren't making it. So there's so many ways and challenges in that industry. So I have one last question for you. You're a husband, a father, a businessman, entrepreneur. Now you're an author. What's next for Kevin Anderson?
I like the outfit. Catering is still, I was always for that. I like the stuff that they did. And the venue business. There's some other things that we're dabbling in, but doing things, how it goes, where it goes. I just, whatever God has for us.
This is a beautiful place, and I don't know if my cousin introduced her, but she needs to come up here. She's a huge part of all of this. This is my Trisha Anderson. His voice to Pearl. So thank you for sacrificing to make all of this magic happen. Because it's happened without you. Really appreciate you. Any questions from the audience? I'm gonna let you select. Any questions from y'all? 'Cause I've had a wonderful time talking to Kevin. Everybody pick up the book. We want you to read it. Give us feedback. What I love most about the book, and Kevin asks, the book sounds like Kevin. He'll start a sentence, middle of a sentence, he'll say shout out to somebody, then he'll come back and finish the sentence. But it's Kevin, it's natural, and I love it. Absolutely.
This was the book, well, back up. When I started on the book, it was in 2005, 2006. And at the time, my headspace and where I was at, far different from where it ended up being. It was in somewhat of a bitter space, frustrated. So the tone was way different. But at the end of it all, the purpose of the book is really just to tell